Do you now understand the deeper meaning of...
Uh-oh, guys,
Do you
here it
understand the
comes.
deeper meaning of what it has to say, or...
Here it comes.
Or is it just an emulgent world that we all live in? Pardon? Who is it?
Hello there, critic.
It's Sullivan
Croft.
Hello, critic. It is I, the furry.
City guy?
Yes, actually,
So I still have no idea how Doug got this guy involved. As far as I know, Satellite City isn't associated with Channel Awesome. So for whatever reason, Doug wanted to do a collab with FENNAH. I don't know how they met. I don't know how Doug knew of him. I have no fucking idea. I would love to know. But for whatever reason, he wanted to do a collab. And Doug does this thing that's really frustrating, where he really wants to do a joke or a bit or a skit, but he doesn't have anywhere to put it, so he just puts it in a random review. Like, he had audio of Maurice LaMarche and Rob Paulson being Pinky in the Brain and swearing at each other and being dumb like that, right? And he had, like, nowhere to put it, I guess, because he randomly tied it into, like, some random review on The Purge or something. So it's like he has these ideas for crossovers, but he has no appropriate place to do them and just sticks them random. So he just went, I want to do a crossover with Satellite City. I know. I'll have him animate the trial part of my wall review. You know, that's as far as his logic went. That's what I think happened here. So, there you go. And just keep in mind, FENNAH is responsible for the lyrics for the trial in this. So it's his fault. And he doesn't understand it either! Oh yeah, I never fucking heard of this guy before this. So many people who never heard of this guy. Doug gives very little context for who the fuck he even is. People who watch Channel Awesome regularly probably had no idea who he is either. So everybody was confused by this. If he had just given him a little bit more introduction, a little bit more context, a little bit more reason to be here, maybe it could have worked. But as it stands, it did not.
Fuck up. What do you mean is she there? She's a made-up character.
I mean...
you're not exactly giving creation all of its credit. It's not like you just shit out the Horcrux that Voldemort never meant to make.
This guy is a little egotistical, but I do think he has talent, so I'll give him that.
And that's it, you know, there's a little more to it than that. When you make a character
That looks real and feels real, well...
We're talking about this pretentious movie that's an ego trip, and here I am talking about how my characters are, you know, more than just my fictional creations. This is the ego trip, this dude right here! What are you talking about?
The line tends to blur, you know.
if you see it, just don't say anything.
My creations are so
Good luck,
deep,
mate.
Dog Walker.
Oh, that's that weird creature I've seen looming around.
Which, I have
Queen
questions.
time to send a super chat. In 2019, Kivawakians were extremely self-centered alien creatures and FENNAH wrote the lyrics from their perspectives, hence the bizarre focus on wanting the symbolic monsters to be main characters.
That's the thing, though. Nobody knows who your characters are, bro. So it's turned from criticizing the wall to doing a parody of the wall with your characters in it. But from what he said to the EFAP guys, it sounds like he didn't know what the rest of the review was. Doug just said, write parody lyrics for this, and he did. You know, from the perspective of his characters, because Doug had asked him to use his characters, or at least animate something. I don't know if they agreed to use his characters or what. Or if Doug said, can you just animate something for this? And he said, okay, I'll use my characters to promote them. I don't know what the fucking logic was here. Whatever it was, it didn't work. You know, it just didn't work. Alright guys, we gotta rip off this band-aid. We can't delay any longer.
And when I heard you were reviewing the much-to-be-desired wall, I figured I'd throw my own tuppence. Style over substance, showcasing a bunch of weird creatures and worlds. Not a drop of intellectual development. All paint, no ink.
All pen, no ink, not a drop of intellectual development. Not a drop of development, except, you know, they all represent people we've seen in the fucking movie. Like, the wife. Not an ounce of intellectual development, except, you know, this monster represents the ex-wife. You know?
You are a weird creature. I thought you'd be all over this.
Music is one.
See? That's the wife. That monster represents the wife. Let's just go over this real quick. Have I been guilty all this time is the line that precedes the trial. He's sitting in the cell because he has to know, have I been guilty all this time? And again, he's completely encased in the wall at this point. The wall of his own isolation that he's built brick by brick from his traumas. Somebody opens the bathroom door and whoop! Error starts the trial. Here's Pink in his wall. Putting himself on trial in his own mind. Warning, worm, your honor, the crown will plainly show the prisoner who now stands before you was caught red-handed showing feelings. Showing feelings of an almost human nature. This will not do. Call the schoolmaster. So the first quote-unquote monster we see is a representation of the schoolmaster, who is one of the people that caused him to build the wall. And here he is grinding the children into a meat grinder in case you still thought it was a fucking concentration camp, Doug! You fucking moron! And again, it's the abuse he faces at home that he is taking out on the children, is the whole point of the schoolmaster. That's why he's a puppet on strings.
It's easy to think of a nonsensical idea. Fucking children do it. It's hard.
So FENNAH, who apparently understands the wall, thinks all of these animated figures are just whimsical nonsense. When literally, what do they say here? What do they say here before this first quote-unquote monster comes down, guys?
Call the schoolmaster!
Call the schoolmaster! They tell you who this fucking is! How do you not understand? You're telling me you understand this movie and the album, you don't understand that these animated monstrous figures at the end represent people we have seen in the movie already. You're just acting like they're just nonsense, just there to be weird. You don't get it! This is not a weird for the sake of being weird movie, like your shit. Yeah, like, I'm not even a fan. I only watched the movie for the first time in my life fully yesterday. And it's not that hard to understand. It's really not that hard to understand. It's very clear. Like, all of this is obvious.
To turn those ideas into thinking, feeling characters and worlds, and
thinking, feeling characters like his. Again, Doug is calling the wall an ego trip, and then he invites this guy who is like, yeah, my creations are more than just fictional characters. They're so developed and have so much intellectualism behind them, and it's like the irony.
Make a point. Well.
Yeah, they don't make a point at all, FENNAH, except they all represent people we've seen in the film if you actually fucking watched it, which you claim you do. That you claim you watched it, you claim you love it and you're a fan of it. Is this one of those things, like fucking what's-her-butt who made Velma did this too, where she's like, oh yeah, I was such a fan, I totally love this property that she clearly knows nothing about and is just shitting all over?
John Williams sent a super chat. Sigh, this is just the characters speaking. The actual animator does, and he talked about he clear it gets it.
Well, to quote Corey Taylor, it's a review! So, if you're telling me you're reviewing this movie, and this is what the words you're putting in your characters' mouths about it, I'm going to have to assume this is the argument you're making about the movie. You know? So, sorry, this is the thesis you decided to put forth about this movie, and about this song, and about the themes of this album, so I'm just going to have to take that at face value. Because what other indication do I have that this is your character's opinions and not your opinion? I have absolutely no fucking context for that. So, fundamentally, essentially, this is what he has chosen to say about the movie.
It fails to truly connect us to those amazing creatures and visuals. A wall does...
It fails to connect us to those amazing creatures, as she's showing the schoolmaster, who we met earlier in the movie, and was the main antagonist in Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. You know, the one that Doug thought was just a school sucks song and is all angsty and pandering and trying to be rebellious. Because he's an idiot.
The visuals are usually praised as the best part. You think you can make a case that the weird characters needed more development?
Each one represented something deep and meaningful. Fantastic designs and presence. Wouldn't you want more of them?
Well, you're saying they all represent something. You understand they represent something, but you're also saying they're shallow because there wasn't enough of the animation, even though this animation was clearly very arduous. It was done in the 80s. It would have been all cell painted, or just a sequence of paintings and illustrations. I'm not sure exactly how they did it, honestly. So, yeah, dude, it's fucking... That was made in, like, 1980. They couldn't make it a full animated feature. What the fuck are you talking about? Here we go, guys. You ready for this roller coaster?
Right then, Lucy Lacemaker. The court will take a vote on if the film that plays before us can in any way show some feelings. Worthy feelings of an almost canny nature.
You gotta love, like, the thigh jiggle on this thing as it walks past Doug. Doug, could you not tell that this guy was a fetish artist? Could you really not tell? Are you that innocent, Doug? Are you into it, Doug? That's the question.
The result of heart and artist. I say the music here is joyous.
Okay, so, like, he's kind of complimenting the movie now. It's very confusing, but again, people are telling me this is from the point of view of his characters, but the thing is, we have to know who his characters are for that to have any meaning to us as a viewer. I didn't know anything about this fucking guy. So, to most people who didn't know who FENNAH is and aren't familiar with his characters, this was just completely out of left field. Like, how are we supposed to understand the meaning here if you have absolutely zero context? And here he is complaining about the monsters, quote-unquote, in the wall having no intellectual development and not being deep enough, when, like, how the fuck are we supposed to take anything away from your goddamn characters if we don't even know who they are? You know, you're telling me nothing. You're communicating to me nothing. This is why people think this is weird and just don't know what else to say about it, but it's weird because there is nothing to grasp on here if you have no pre-knowledge of these characters or their creator. You know? At least the quote-unquote monsters in the movie represented characters we had seen in the film already. Yeah, he's calling this movie lazy. He's calling this movie with arduous cell-painted animation lazy, while he has his wiggling little demon furries here that he always just puts on, like, a loop where they just kind of bounce like video game characters. You have the gall to call anything else lazy. And that's, like, one of the best lines of the fucking song that they're adapting poorly here. So the schoolmaster's the first one, and then we get crazy. Toys in the attic, I am crazy. Truly gone fishing. So this is his mental fucking breakdown. You know, they must have taken my marbles away. So that's the part he's translating into lazy. This is lazy. Guys, this is lazy. Just look at this. This is so lazy. This was probably drawn on fucking paper, frame by frame, but it's lazy. According to FENNAH, this is lazy. Like, fucking dude, bro. Who do you think you are? Like... I think when Deadwing watched this, he said, yeah, I saw this on a Radiant GPU box in, like, 2005. And I know exactly what he's talking about. Again, calling the wall an ego trip while Fen is over here like, my creations have so much intellect and personality and are so deep. It's like, fuck off, bro. Fuck off.
This film's not bound by characters, it's a visual affair.
The film's not bound by characters? The whole film is about the people in Pink's life that contributed to him building the wall around himself that he has now isolated himself in. How can you say there's no characters in the fucking movie just because you didn't pay attention? Like, again, it's not a very complicated film. It's basically one long music video.
It never aimed to tell a story.
It never aimed to tell a story. You're telling me this motherfucker understands the wall and he says it never aimed to tell a story? The entire story is about how Pink's dad, dying in World War II, started the spiral of his life going downhill, and all the people who contributed to him adding bricks to the wall. How is that not a story, Fenna? You think your stories are fucking deep when you just, like, torture a little cute fish guy or whatever the fuck, you know? Like, this dude is so up his own ass, sniffing his own farts, thinking his own work is really, really brilliant, and he has the gall to shit on people way more talented and accomplished than he ever will be. You know, like, fucking hell, man. Over the rainbow, I am crazy. Remember, Fenna thinks this is lazy. You little shit, you're in it now. How do you call this lazy? Lazy. He calls this lazy. He calls this fucking lazy. This was made in 1980, and he calls it lazy. Look at the fucking layers they must have taken to do this in hand-drawn cell animation. You think your fucking wiggly 3D furry monsters are like better than this? Oh my god, dude. So yeah, Fenna, your animations is definitely superior to this, and you have any room to fucking talk.
There's a difference between nonsense after all.
Yeah, and you're just calling, like, the symbolic animated portions of the wall nonsense. It's your shit that's nonsense, bro. After calling the wall nonsense, he shows us this. How is this not utter fucking nonsense? On every level. Character design, imagery, everything. This is complete fucking nonsense. Oh boy, you really had an auto-tuner there on that last note, huh? And now Lucy's the judge for some reason. Even though in certain shots she was the wife monster, now she's the judge because we just have no narrative here.
The court is incontrovertible. There's no need for the judge.
These are just Fenna's OCs. I don't know if this is what Doug intended when he told him to animate a version of the trial, but he just used his own OCs. And then acts like they're so brilliant and cool and deep, and then calls this movie, like, shallow and lazy.
Fills me with an urge to decapitate.
Okay, so the actual lyric is, it fills me with an urge to defecate! Which is fitting since the judge is a giant asshole. You know. So why did Fenna replace that with decapitate? Is it because he's just an edgy boy and it's a similar word? No, it's because the creatures that Lucy Loosemaker are reproduce via decapitation somehow. Yes, they reproduce by decapitating their mate and arranging the body in a degrading manner, and that somehow makes a new being. So that's why she said, fills me with an urge to decapitate. So does that mean she's fucking horny right now? Like, FENNAH? FENNAH, can you elucidate for me if that means she is fucking horny right now for this movie, that she just wants to decapitate something as a way, the way your edgy furries fuck. Like, I learned that from the Deadwing Dork stream. You should also check that out. It's called the Yiffy Furry World of Satellite City. It's just so hypocritical, where Doug is like, oh, is this movie just an ego trip or what? And then he brings in this guy who's like, yes, my furry characters are just so deep, and they're going to pontificate upon why this classic movie and album is just lazy. And it's like, you are the two most unself-aware motherfuckers ever.
Creatures should be adored as opposed to being feared.
What do you mean being feared, though? They're fucking Pink's hallucinations in the midst of his psychosis. What are you even talking about? What is the actual fucking point or criticism here? You're saying the movie doesn't have a point. Your fucking section doesn't have a point. What are you trying to say? You're not communicating anything. And if you're just gonna say, well, these are how my characters would talk about it, who the fuck cares? I don't know who your characters are. I don't know their history. I don't know their thoughts on things that are... I don't know what their normal is. You know, what do you think I'm gonna take anything away from this?
Tear down the wall.
So, FENNAH turned this into, like, the wall between fiction and reality, which, how does that thematically tie back into Corey Taylor being into the wall when he was a kid, and Doug getting mean hashtags about him on Twitter? How does any of this tie together? It doesn't. You guys couldn't keep track of your own fucking narrative within this video. Why? Oh, fucking hell.